Hey, how's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. Finally, I'm feeling much better after a bit of a time being ill and sick and all that stuff. Not a great feeling, let's be real. But finally, I can do some videos, obviously. Cannot stream yet, so stay tuned for that. I definitely want to start streaming once again, but at the moment, my voice just can't handle that for hour-long streams and more. But today, on the agenda, of course, we have Arsenal versus Bournemouth. Preview. Arsenal traveling away to play against Bournemouth. I don't know what to expect. With all the injuries, with all the stuff that is going on at the moment surrounding Arsenal, it is a bit of a question mark. Let's be real, nothing more, nothing less, because Arsenal should be beating them. There is no question about that. Whether it's the full team or like 2-3 players being out, Arsenal should be beating Bournemouth. Obviously, Bournemouth have some good players, Semenyo, they have obviously also Kerkez, they have bought Evan Nilsson and players like that. But at the moment, I'm not sure what to expect because the injuries are not the good kind. Obviously, there are some injuries you could get some not the best players, which is not an issue, but obviously we have quite a bit of injuries on our best players, main players. So that is quite a bit of a question mark at the moment. So let's see how we do. Let's see what happens. But yeah, today we're going to talk about all about that. So I'm not expecting an easy game. Let's be real. I'm not expecting an easy game. Mostly because, as again, we're going to talk about injuries in a second, but some of our main guys are not with the team because they're injured. Obviously, some of them under a question mark. They will be assessed. Arteta also spoke on Odegaard, saying that he might be back before next international break, which is again in November. So that is some positive news. He's hopeful at least. But yeah, obviously during international break, Martinelli picked up an injury. Obviously Odegaard is still out. Saka picked up an injury. Ben White, Timber, Havertz still under a question mark. Zinchenko, although I don't want to see him at left back, but still injured as an Arsenal player. Tomiyasu is injured once again. So it's not looking good. It's not looking great, definitely. And I'm expecting a very scrappy, very physical game. In recent games in the Premier League as well, Arsenal have not done that well in terms of maybe blowing teams out of water, because as I was doing previews for games against Leicester, against Southampton, I was saying I want a smashing. I want 4-0. I want 5-0. And when the games happened, at some point it was a bit iffy. We were 2-0 up, then it was 2-2, and it was a squeaky bum time. We went 1-0 against Southampton, it was a squeaky bum time, obviously for 2 minutes, 3. But again, it was a very dangerous task. And somehow, at home we are playing worse, in my opinion, than we are playing away. Our away form is a bit more pragmatic, a bit more content, so that is playing us in our hands very much. But I think still Arsenal should have enough to beat Bournemouth. I don't care if it's 1-0, 2-1, 2-0, or whatever is the performance. At the moment, at the current situation, get the job done no matter what the cost. Play like George Graham, stink out 1-0 win. At the moment, I don't care. Because at the moment, we need to get things done. We need to get the job over the line. Mostly because, let's be real, until our main guys come back, we need to do what we can with what we have. So definitely we're gonna talk straight up about this issue, and we're gonna speak about transfers, injuries, of course. Obviously, since it's Friday, Arsenal play tomorrow, it's 5:30 kickoff and everything. Arteta conducted an interview, obviously as a pre-match interview, where he spoke about injuries. And first things first, he spoke about Bukayo Saka, saying that he has a hamstring injury. Saka has suffered a hamstring injury against Greece, and the Gunners winger was been clutching back to his leg moments before Pavlidis fired the visitors ahead, obviously. Now the thing is, what Arteta said is that it's not a serious injury, he's evolving well. Well, that is a good thing, obviously, because Saka at the moment, with Odegaard being out, is our arguably main creator, and he's our main guy up top to create chances, because the pass, what he did against Southampton for Martinelli to score, phenomenal assist, let's be real. He's our creative spark, well, Odegaard isn't there, obviously, and he has 7 assists as well, so that is what it is. And he was probably good enough to play with the national team for the second game. We have some big tests today, obviously that means Friday, so we are hopeful. So basically, Arsenal play tomorrow against Bournemouth, and Saka is still under a question mark, whether will he play or not. Obviously, if past dictates anything, if Saka can walk, he will play. And I just hope that he doesn't get played despite that, because sometimes taking it easy is obviously the best thing. We have players to put there in the team. Obviously, maybe not the same caliber of players, but we need some type of rotation, because there are positions in our team where we can rotate consistently, we can rotate on a very good basis. But also at the same time, there are places where we cannot rotate. So that is a bit of a situation, and one of them is that right wing spot. Obviously, we can push Al Jesus there. We can maybe try Sterling there. Martinelli, pick your poison. But at the same time, losing Saka, if he doesn't play, definitely will impact the game somehow. Obviously, Saka also, although he was getting GA, hasn't had the best performances since Odegaard went out. So it will be very interesting to see what Mikel Arteta does. Obviously, before the international break, news broke about Kai Havertz that he sustained a knee injury. Knee knock. It was a knock, obviously, in the first place. So Arteta said he's got a few issues, but we've been dealing with that. We've got great communication with Germany. If he trains well today, he has a good chance to be fit and available. And obviously, I'm not saying he's under a question mark. I think he's one of those players which Arsenal he's essential for Arsenal to be playing tomorrow. Especially if Saka, for example, doesn't play, or players like that. He is essential to our attack. As much as weird it sounds, maybe looking a year forward from the time when we signed him, at the moment he is one of the key parts, one of the main essential parts of our attack, and we cannot do without him. So let's hope, genuinely hope, he's good and he can start, because I don't want to see Jesus up front again. We saw what happened against Bolton. We panned Bolton 5-1. We scored 5 goals. Jesus did nothing. He started against Southampton, weakest team in the league, arguably. He did nothing. And it took our main guys and everyone to score basically to get it over the line. As soon as Jesus came off, we actually did some things properly. So Jesus at the moment is more nuisance than help, obviously, unless he hits form somehow. Obviously, we don't know if he's going to get injured or not, but I still believe that his best position is right wing. He said himself that his main trait is not scoring, so I think he's more suited to being a right winger more, mostly because it kind of takes off the pressure as leading the line and being the main goal scorer, because he will be judged. Maybe at wing he won't be judged as much, but at the same time, obviously, it could be very, very rough for him. Odegaard, that's a rough one. He's still out, but he's doing. There are certain things he needs to be comfortable with doing, especially with the ball. Next week will be crucial to understanding how close he is. So basically, Arteta also said that he could be back before this November international break. At the same time, he said that he's not going to be fit for Bournemouth. Next week will be a different story, obviously. As he said, next week will be very essential to understanding how close he is. Obviously, I'm not sure they are still undecided how he looks. They don't want to disclose the information. It still feels that way because we haven't heard a distinct timeline for Odegaard being back. We have heard rumors before November's international break, after November's international break. We still haven't heard anything specific. So he's playing basically with cards close to his chest with Odegaard specifically. So let's see how that goes. But obviously for Bournemouth, we shouldn't need Odegaard to win. Now, if we talk about Liverpool and games like that, that's where we will be missing him quite a bit if he doesn't play, of course. Ben White as well. He has been out for a few games now, and he said that they are quite close to the three of them, White, Timber, and Zinchenko. So they are all our defenders, 2 right backs and a left back, or how you want to say, to be honest, because they go pretty much everywhere. They're very close to being back. Today we have to push. We are struggling a bit with the numbers, especially in our right side. Obviously, because the right side, we have 3 covers. We had Tomiyasu, we had Timber, and we had White. And unfortunately enough, all of them are injured, which means that if it's not possible, we might see Thomas Partey at right back once again. And as much as I love that we have players that can play in multiple positions, that is a position where I don't want to see Partey ever again. Last season in the beginning, we saw him there against Southampton, and he had a decent game, he had a very good game. I'm not taking anything away from him, but he doesn't have the legs to do it. Especially if he overcommits going forward, overlapping or something, we definitely will be screwed defending wise, because they have players who can damage us with pace and everything. Well, they have it, of course, so that will be definitely a very big challenge if he cannot play. But there's a big possibility still that we might see Thomas Partey at right back. Gabriel Martinelli. He was unused substitute in Brazil's second game because he wasn't with the team because concerns of a calf injury. Gabi landed yesterday. Yesterday he went outside for a bit. Let's see how he's feeling. We have to decide if we want to take a risk, because I know he'll say he is. Obviously, he wants to prove everyone wrong, because there are still a lot of doubters at Arsenal, including myself to a certain extent, whether he'll be good or not for the games, or is he ever gonna go back to the Martinelli we saw 2 seasons ago? Basically, that is what everyone wants to see. because so far he's been since then a mere shadow of himself. So that is the big question. That is the thing. Will they do tests on him? I don't think they have enough time in a way. They should, because the tests don't take long and the results also shouldn't take long, instant pretty much. So it will be very interesting. Obviously, Martinelli will say that he's ready. That will be a risk, because if that risk goes wrong, again, he might be out for months. But if he's good, then good. Just be honest. We have to be honest with ourselves right there. Thomas Partey is a mystery one, because randomly he got pulled out from the team, from Ghana national team. He didn't want to play. It was recorded as an illness, like flu-like symptoms and stuff like that. So it was weird. At the same time, Ghana said that there were reports from Ghana saying that he doesn't want to play for the national team. But to be honest, they don't need Thomas Partey to beat Sudan away, shouldn't they? Yet they lost 2-0, so that is kind of ironic. The midfielder was pulled from the national duty before heading away to Ghana squad. A statement read, Thomas Partey is unable to join Black Stars due to the medical issues he's currently experiencing. His club has scheduled him for further tests in the coming days. And that is the only information we have on him. That is the only information we heard basically before international break, and we haven't heard anything since. Which for me reads as basically he's not going to international team, he's gonna stay at Arsenal to stay healthy and be ready for the game, because there's a big possibility he will have to play right back again. That is my take on this. Let me know what you think down in comments below. Jurrien Timber again is a bit of a yikes one, obviously. It's another unfortunate thing. I think he's been overplayed quite a bit after returning from the ACL. It takes quite a bit of time to kind of recover fully, and I think the load he has to carry against all the teams he has played against, I think it's kind of having a bit of an effect on him, obviously. Some muscles are overcompensating for deficiencies over that ACL injury. And they're quite close again. They'll have to push, and we'll see. We'll see. We genuinely will see, because so far it looks like we might see actually playing Partey at right back. Zinchenko hasn't featured Arsenal squad since August, and I don't think he will. Kieran Tierney has hamstring injury. He remains out since Euros, which is quite a weird one. Hamstring for that long. He needs to focus on recovering the best possible ways. There have been rumors that he actually might leave in January to return to Celtic. There have been rumors of that. Let's see how that goes. But it's been quite rough. And now, yeah, we come to that point where we're going to talk about starting 11. And we have to take into account all the injuries and all the problems the team has. And that could be a very big problem at the moment. Let's be real. But speaking of the team, obviously Ryan Goal had good games in Nations League, Calafiori, Gabriel and Saliba. Now, right back, I'm gonna assume that none of our three right backs are fit enough, so I'm gonna put in Thomas Partey, which means Declan Rice will be playing, and what I would love to see is Mikel Merino to start. I want to see how he plays, and for once put Rice at 6, because for the longest time lots of Arsenal fans, including myself, have been saying that Declan Rice's best spot is at number 6, of course. The issue with this is, Rice doesn't possess things that Partey possesses. Partey has that connection with the attack that nobody else in our midfield does. This thread the needle in between the line passes he sometimes tends to do, which basically cuts off like 2-3 men, are sublime. Especially when Odegaard is playing. The relationship between Partey and Odegaard is sublime. But that's the team I would play. Now, as a number 10, I will start Trossard. Now, and Havertz is going there. Now the big issues start, because no matter what happens here, for example, Saka cannot play, Martinelli cannot play, it means we have only one winger, which means Arteta needs to adapt and change some things. Now, the big thing is, could Arsenal play with just 3 box-to-box / holding midfielders and put Jorginho in the midfield and then push Trossard out to wing? Potentially, right? But for me, I think Saka or Martinelli will play. But if they don't play Jesus at right wing and play Sterling on the left side with Havertz up top. And that is, again, including if Havertz can play. Now, at the moment, these all injuries for Arsenal are quite a bit of question mark, because we don't know what is going on. And we don't know what the starting 11 could potentially be. But if everyone can play more or less, let's just say that, this would be my starting 11. I would play him and I would play him. That would be my starting 11 if Saka is fit and good enough to play, and Martinelli is fit, and Havertz is fit and good enough to play. I think this team should be able to beat Bournemouth no matter what. I think the team is good enough. The question is, will they? And then that includes also the subs, because at the moment with our injured main players means our backup guys needs to play a bit more, and that means we don't have that much quality coming off the bench, which could cost us at some point. Especially against teams like Liverpool and teams like that, where there's high intensity, high pressure, high running, lots of things. Basically, our players will get burnt out very quickly. And that could be an issue. So let's hope for that game they are back. But for this game, this would be my starting 11. Assuming, of course, Saka, Martinelli and Havertz are good. Because if they're not, it could be a bit beacons for Arsenal. But there is one thing. If none of our attacking three, none of these three players can play, then I would try and exploit this option. I would put him there. I would put Martinelli off for Sterling, right? Then Trossard plays wherever. Let's just say we could see something like this, right? And instead of him, my bad. Where was it? Basically, let's pretend that Havertz is Manieri. I would potentially do that. Basically. Where is now Havertz? Let's just say it's Manieri and his number is 99. That's what I would do. If our all attacking three options are not available to be played. Again, that means off the bench we have pretty much nothing. Defenders mostly, and then maybe some youngsters we can sub on. Maybe Jorginho. Our attacking options will be hella thin. That for me is the biggest issue. But again, no matter what, we need to get the job done and get it over the line. My prediction for this game is 2-1 win. Because at the moment I have predicted very big smashings for Arsenal at home, and it hasn't happened. And it looks like Arsenal are not going about that way anymore. They don't want to smash and grab and run, basically score 5 goals and that's it, like we did in the second part of last season. Arsenal are basically scoring goals, doing the bare minimum in a way, to get the job done over the line, to preserve their energy, their strength, physically, mentally, and all that stuff, especially with all the injuries that are going around. So that is the case. But this would be my starting 11 if basically every single player that is injured cannot play. But if Saka, for example, can play and players like that, there's no shadow of a doubt I'm starting Saka, I'm starting Martinelli, and if they both can play, that means Trossard can play in that 10 role, and if Havertz is fit, and instead of Jesus, I am playing, obviously, well, this is Havertz, basically, this is Havertz. Let's just pretend now this is Havertz, I'm not going to change it back. So this would be my starting 11 if the players are that necessary in front line are fit. If not, we go back to the previous team. But either way, we need to get the job done. I'm predicting a 2-1 win. Let me know down in comments what you think, because I expect a very scrappy and very, very tough and rough game, especially the fact that Bournemouth have time to prepare for us. Most of our guys have gone international duty, so it will be a challenge. It's no wonder that international games, many teams where their main players go to international duty look a bit off the pace. They're drained, they're exhausted in a way, at least emotionally, definitely. So this could be a bit of a challenge, let's just say that. But for me, this would be the starting 11 if none of our main guys are fit to play. If there are, then obviously we're gonna go with the previous team. But if not, yeah, it could be a bit beacons. This would be my starting 11 if everyone's fit. If not, it would be the team before. So let me know down in comments below what would be your starting 11, what you think, what's going to happen in the game, your score prediction, and do you think Arsenal will come away with a victory? And do you think some of our main guys will actually play? I know Arteta tends to be very sneaky and play cards close to his chest with these type of things. That's why I have these two options as starting 11s. This one, or the one you saw about minute and a half ago. But overall, yeah, that it is for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. You have been fantastic. Take care, stay safe. As I said, comment your thoughts, your predictions, starting 11s. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and see you all for a game review after the game. Peace.